everybody. It's Romania Black. We're on volume 20 of Berserk, and it is not lost on me that as of next week, we will be halfway through the series that Miura himself created. Now, I know the series is ongoing, but I know there's 42 volumes, I think 42 or 44 volumes a total that Miura created, and the rest has been taken over by his assistant Mori. So there is a lot to talk about in this reaction today, and I'm going to have to split it up into two parts. One, the pre-reaction, and one, the post-reaction, because I have all these comments to get through before we even start. And then there's some of it that I think I'm going to be saving for the post-reaction because there's just a lot to talk about. To give you all context, as I'm recording this, volume 17 has come out on YouTube, which I knew after recording it and going back and editing, I was like, ooh, I was pretty riled up in that volume for obvious reasons. And Patreon was pretty kosher about it. They were like, yeah. And I want to say first and foremost, thank you to all the people who have been very supportive, not only because of my experience going into reading this, to this manga and to these deluxe volumes, but also to thank the people who have come out and actually talked about their own experience. I think that anybody who has been involved in something as horrific as sexual assault, or if you've been involved in violence, any kind of abuse, anything like that, it takes a lot of courage to come out, especially in the current climate of our culture, to come out and say that, to talk about it and openly say, yes, I have had this experience. And just like anything, in terms of trauma, everyone handles it differently. And I think, I agree with a lot of people that have commented in that my experience happened a while ago. It's not necessarily fresh in terms of the date that it happened. It is something that I do deal with and think about nearly every day. But I do take a lot of solace from Guts in this story because he has had a similar experience. And he struggles through it and he moves on and progresses and moves forward with it. And I think that that's one good thing about Berserk is that it does take a lot of the darkness that people experience and it shows you a character that kind of has to saddle that darkness and ride through it and keep progressing and struggle through as were the case. And I do appreciate that the most about Berserk. And I want to say a few things before we start. First, because people keep on saying it in the comments, I want to address it now and I'm going to address it when we're done with the reaction. But I am aware, I'm going to say it again, so listen up. I am aware that we are only halfway through Miura's written story. I know that. And I am fully aware that as the story goes on, I am likely to change my mind and update my opinion. My thing is, a lot of the comments are like, well, you don't know how these characters are going to develop and you don't know how they're going to change later on. And I'm like, I know, but you're watching a week-to-week reaction. If y'all, tell me in the comments, if you all want me to stop these week-to-week reactions and just read the whole series and then give you a little review at the end with my overall thoughts, go ahead and tell me in the comments, please. I encourage you, if that's what you would prefer. But if you want a week-to-week reaction, then I'm going to react to the content week to week as I see it. And I am, again, full transparency. I've said this for several volumes, but I'll say it again for you. So I hope you are listening. I am aware that my views will evolve. That's constructive criticism. That's literary critique. It evolves and transcends and develops as the story and narrative evolves as well. Some people that make comments like that, I'm like, you probably are not familiar with literary studies, and I understand that. I have a background in it. I have a graduate degree in it, so I am full aware. However, a large part of my graduate education was studying authorship. And there is one thing that I do want to know before we dive into these comments, and that is this concept. And I feel like it's much more prevalent in manga and anime. And I feel the reason for that is mangaka have such horrific climates of their work. They are not paid enough. They are overworked with deadlines. There is a lot of strenuous activity involved in their craft, and the payoff can be more long-term than short-term, so it can often lead to a lot of disillusion and perhaps negative feelings about your workmanship. So I can understand because of the environment, and especially when you have a creator like Miura who is so talented and gives us such art, you know, in a lot of what they do, I can understand why people are very defensive of him. And especially since he's passed, it almost feels like he's untouchable because he's passed. It's like, well, would you disrespect the dead? But here's the thing about authorship. No author is without criticism. And nor should they expect to be. If you go into the field of becoming an author and you think that you're going to be untouchable, there's some delusion there, very much so, because the nature of reading and telling stories is that we question those stories. We ask what they're about. We question the themes, the symbolism, the way that they're written. That's the study of it. It's not fun to just look at a story and go, that was perfect, and then move on. Okay. I mean, some people do that and that's fine. But my look at a story in terms of characters, in terms of narrative, in terms of plot and story and setting and symbolism, it's all comprehensive. So when I look at a story and evaluate it, yeah, I'm going to question some things. And there are flaws that I do find with Berserk. I'm not going to sit here and tell you Miura is a god writer who has no flaws, because he does have flaws. And it is apparent in his writing. And it would be a disservice for me to you to just sit here and go, well, that was nice, and then just move on without, you know, saying that. That would be a disservice. It would also be a disservice to people who are probably reading this and finding a similar experience going, is anybody else noticing that maybe there's a problem with this? And if nobody speaks up, it makes those voices silenced and it makes them feel like they don't have agency themselves. And I think that a large part of Miura's writing is to bring a voice to those victims. So yeah, I'm going to call it out. We're going to talk about it in a lot more detail. But my point is that I think some of the comments are trying to point at that it's wrong of me to critique and question Miura. And I fundamentally disagree with that. I think that I can respect Miura as a writer. I can respect his craft and his story, but I also have the ability to call out things that I feel are problematic and that maybe they should have changed. And I feel that we do that with stories so that we progress as writers and we progress as storytellers, because a lot of the modern stories I see and have looked at that draw heavy influence from Berserk have made those changes. They have made those critiques and taken them to heart and altered things. And so we can kind of look at Berserk as a blueprint and say, here's some things Miura is doing. Here's some things Miura is not doing. What do we do with that? And just question it. If you feel called out because I'm pointing out problematic elements, then that's something that you need to reflect on. But I'm not going to read your comments critiquing me and telling me how wrong I am and just calling me out and saying whatever. My moderators are like, yeah, you don't need to waste your time with those. So I appreciate that. But we need to dive into these comments. Don't worry, we're going to come back to this whole thing. I've got so much to talk about this volume. I had a lot to talk about with this volume anyway, and I already had it planned out. And then when the comments started coming in, and people were even contacting me on Twitter being like, hey, I'm sorry about these comments made towards you. And I was like, what? And y'all have to understand, I don't read comments for the volumes until my moderators go through them. And then they will say like, hey, these comments are not constructive. They're not contributing anything to the conversation. You don't have to read those. And so if you are some that you didn't see a response from me, that means I didn't read your comment. So if you want to save your carpal tunnel, be considerate and respectful and have a meaningful dialogue. But I do want to say that I had already planned out the part that I'm going to do after the reaction before I even got to the comments section. And then I was like, I'm going to wait till the end of the volume to do that. So if you don't want to listen to my giant elaborative constructive deconstruction of Miura's work, you can skip that portion and then not feel like you have to sit through it. So we'll save that for the end. But I've already gone on way too long and we still have comments to talk about. So Moomin talks about possible inspiration for this arc is taken from the movie The Name of the Rose with Christian Slater and Sean Connery. I think I'm going to try to watch that before volume 21 because I love Sean Connery and Christian Slater as actors. So I'm like, I would want to watch that, I think. Miura also potentially drew inspiration for Isidro from one of his assistant's sons. And I think that's kind of cute. I like that. During the battle with Kushan, Guts is flinging himself over the Dragon Slayer, and that is a Casca move. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. So it's probably a move that she taught him because she used it during a fight with Adon. Like, that's awesome. I love that. And then Miura's art in volume 18 are also potentially influenced by the work of Gustave Doré. So thank you, Moomin. I appreciate all that information. I really liked Amir Almond's notes of calling Guts like an ash crow, because crows are usually omens of death, which, as Amir Almond points out, ties into Guts. Like, he constantly is following, death follows him wherever he goes because of the brand, so it makes him like a crow, like an omen. And we've seen his cape kind of look like either a bat or a crow, which is a nice contrast to Griffith and the hawk. So there's nice little symbolism there. But I also like the idea of ashes because he's been burned by Griffith. And then, in my opinion, I think that after the Cracks in the Blade chapter, it's kind of like he's rising from those ashes as a new person, which we'll talk about after the reaction. They also talk about, Mira Almond says in volume 17, the term of ecstasy. That part I was a little confused about. I was like, I don't exactly know what Miura is trying to get at with saying Guts was an ecstasy. And Amir Almond's interpretation is that Guts was having this thought of ecstasy at getting revenge at Griffith. And the Skull Knight, in their opinion, is saying that Guts can't have both. He can't save Casca and also get revenge on Griffith. If he tries to do both, he's going to lose both. And it's like, well, which is he going to choose? Godot made it kind of clear that Guts should choose saving Casca over getting revenge, and being like, are you really going to try to get revenge, or are you going to try to save Casca? Because one of those seems like the better option. My fear is that Guts is going to try to have his cake and eat it too, and it's going to fail. Right? My fear is that he's going to try to save Casca and get revenge on Griffith, and Godot and Skull Knight have both said you can't do that, and Guts is not going to adhere. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Guts will save Casca and leave Griffith. We'll see. We'll see. Also, I like that J Delta 716. J Delta 716 talked about Durankai, which is something that I'm going to bring up in the after reaction, so just keep note of that. They did bring up the manga Durankai, which Miura wrote but did not illustrate. I think Studio Trigger illustrated it, maybe. I'm going to go back to that when we're done with the reaction. So I'm going to talk about Durankai a little bit because I did read that last night. So I did read that volume last night. So we're going to go back and talk about it when we get done with the reaction. Danielle Barker of California says that Femto, they did make a correction. They were like, you said Femto hasn't spoken yet. He did speak during the Guardian of Desires chapter. And I'm like, oh, I'd forgotten about that. So apparently Femto can talk. Good to know. Good to know. Death Mingo. We're talking about volume 17. We're going to go back, Death Mingo, to your comment as well, and then another one too. So there's a couple of these comments I do want to talk about post-reaction because I want to see how volume 20 influences my thoughts. It may make all of these comments superfluous, but we'll just have to see. But in any case, I've talked for nearly 13 minutes. I appreciate people that are supportive. This reaction is not just going to be me being like, Berserk's amazing and there's nothing wrong with it. I do think Berserk is amazing. I would not be reading this story if I didn't enjoy it. And it's one of those things that sometimes when you enjoy something, you do also want to point out the things that frustrate you about it. And that you're like, oh, this is amazing. But also, and me being a female reader, yeah, I'm going to have a different come at it than a male reader. And that's something we're going to talk about when we get later to it. But Zod is over here in the wings. There's a lot going on in this reaction in terms of what I've got in front of me and around behind me and everything. My thing is still broken. I can't find one that I'm satisfied with yet, so I'm probably just gonna have to hold the pages through part of it. So what can we do? But I do want to go ahead and start, and then when we're done with the reaction, we're going to talk about a lot of other things too. So like I said, this is probably going to be a long video, but there are reasons. I feel like I want to justify myself and trying to articulate what has been kind of nagging at me with things, and articulate in a way, because I read some comments and they're like, have you thought about this? And I just want to say, yep, I've talked about that in all my videos. I don't know how else to say it. So maybe just putting it all together in one cohesive structure at the end of this reaction will make more sense. So we'll touch base on that. But when we last left off, Casca's been swallowed by these demon spirits, but she's not being eaten like the others. She's special. I don't understand why she gets special privilege when the other sacrifices didn't, but plot plot convenience. But she is. We'll just let it go and just chalk it up as that. Maybe there's a reasoning behind it. We'll see. We'll see. But Father Mosgus is basically like, let's take on all these demons alone. And Guts and Farnes are trying to catch up too. So it's like this three-way battle. We have all the demons enveloping Casca. We have Father Mosgus and the executioners. And then we have Farnes and Guts trailing behind with Serpico in the wings. So leading for a lot of things to happen. But I'm very excited. I hope you all are too. But we're not going to waste any more time. We are going to dive into volume 20 of Berserk. And we're going to do so here in 3, 2, 1. So, yeah, this damn spider thing, don't worry. It's no big deal. No big deal at all. This spider tick looking thing. I looked back at today when I opened up the volume and I was like, it has like 8 legs technically. And then 4 little tentacle things. So I'm like, is it supposed to be like a spider? Because it's coming down kind of like on a thread. I don't know how to feel about this. But yeah, okay. So a big pile of corpses starting us out. Awesome. Oh, I do think that shot of Casca is really pretty. I like the shot of her hair kind of like flowing like tentacles itself and the demons. It's almost like, is she protected by the love of Guts? Is Guts's love protecting her from being eaten up by the demons? Is that what it's going to be? I don't know. But there's reasons, I guess, why the demons can't attack her. Oh, or it's the demon baby keeping them at bay. Oh, the spider birth ceremony, the spider's thread. Is the birth ceremony for Griffith or is it for their baby? Oh, their little demon baby. Okay, I do really, really like the concept of Casca like trying to embrace the little demon baby and it's protecting her from the demons and then to keep them from eating it. I also like the idea of it's bathed in white light. I love the idea of Guts and Casca's baby being this, despite it being a demon, being a source of light. It's opposite of Guts, who's also been called a demon child, and he has all this like darkness surrounding him as a motif. But this demon baby, despite it being horrifically ugly, is just like, it just is sitting there as this little beacon of light, which is really cute. It's like a little symbol. It's a symbol of, despite the love of Guts and Casca, their combined love being tainted by Griffith and evil, it's still able to, it's a little struggler too. It's a little struggler. Come at me! I love that Mosgus is like, come at me, bro. Oh my God. Oh my God, that's actually hilarious. Come at me, bro. What? I do love that shot of Casca with her baby. Oh no. Oh shit. Oh no. The theory that the spider demon was Mosgus may not be wrong. It may not be wrong. Oh no, shit. Well, uh-oh. Hey, buddy, we keep on going up, but I need to go down. We're lost. Say what? Okay. With Isidro, we'll hide somewhere, wait for this to blow over. Are you okay? You're not hurt? Oh, and I like that Luca asks her if she's not hurt, and she has the one finger that they were going to tear the fingernail off of, and she's like, Nina talked in the last volume about not being able to say that she was hurt because they hadn't even taken a fingernail off. So that's a nice little image they show us there. Oh, well, crap. Oh, yeah. Isidro says the same thing. Oh, crap. Yep. All this monster and everything. Oh, running away. Oh, well. I like that Isidro was going to try to, like, attack it, looking for a stone to throw. But then in this giant pillar of fire, is Casca still in there? What is happening? Why is there a pillar of fire? I love that Jerome saves all of them. Good job, Jerome. But what the fudge? Why we got this? Oh, no. Oh, the baby, no! Oh, the baby, damn it! Damn it! No! The baby is what saved her! Oh, no. has its tentacles injected itself, has the demon's tentacles injected itself into all of them. And of course, Father Mosgus is like on fire. He's basically become like a pseudo demon too, a pseudo apostle. I mean, this imagery of him holding her like that, saying he's witnessed a miracle, this does not bode well. I would like to say that he's going to say, well, we're going to let Casca go now. Because she's perfectly fine. She's not a witch. We're good. But I don't think that's how it's going to go down. Oh, this is what the Lord intends. Oh, is that like, are the tentacles all behind them? Like down at them? They're all surrounding him. So it's like that spider thing in between all of them. To use this power to guide the people. Oh, no. That's Elaine. It's Casca! Flatface, give the lady to me! The girl in the back is the witch's friend. Well, damn it, that shall not happen. She is the ringleader of evil spreading through Albion. Here we go. I must show God's victory to the masses by burning her at the stake. It is my mission. Well, hell, we're back to what the vision was, the dream. I love Isidro saying, what do you mean, witch? You guys are the shady ones. We got right to the point. Do you intend to hinder my holy task? My disciples do not have the hearts tolerant of the Lord's enemies. Yeah, this, again, we've talked about how the demons amplify desires. They amplify inner desires. So with Nina, it's a bit complicated and a little bit more vague. She has this desire of acceptance and sexual liberation, and that kind of came through with the orgy. And then you have Farnes. Farnes is a more concrete example of the demon kind of amplifying her own like inner demons and lust. And here, Father Mosgus is like his mission of righteousness has been amplified enough on his own, but now this demon is amplifying it to where it's become something twisted. And while it seems like it's a holy quest, is actually horrific, right? Awesome. Oh, yeah. And again, it's, yep. I'm sure the demon, like the veins and everything pronounced. Yeah, it's like made it even worse. Awesome. I feel like the demons influenced this hardcore because like we saw with the goat man. Mm-hmm. Oh, poor Jerome and Isidro. I love Jerome and Isidro are like, they're trying to do their best to protect Luca and Nina and them, but this seems a little bit beyond them. Maybe just a hot second. Oh, crud. Oh. I want to give Azon like a foghorn leghorn accent every time I see him because of the comments. Being like, I say, what in the world's happened up there in that tower? Oh, no. I knew they weren't human. And then, oh, no, Luca. Oh, shit. Oh, the fact that Jerome, Isidro, and Nina are trying to grab her. Oh, yes. I don't want Luca to die in all this. Like, save her. Oh, ugh. Oh, bitch, please. Oh, my God. Oh, the Skull Knight being like, what's up? Okay. Oh, man. All of the theories, all of the theoretical possibilities of what this pair of eyes could be throughout the last 3 volumes have all coalesced into the same scene. We have Skull Knight here. We have the stupid Behelit looking spider. We have Mosgus. Like all 3 of my theories are now all together in the same existence. Ah! Okay. The presence feels stronger. Oh, that's such a great shot of Guts. Yeah, Guts is like, I ain't got time to wait on you, Farnes. Oh, that's so good. The spider's thread. Ooh, okay. Ooh, those who dance at the summit, those who creep in the depths. Okay. Yep. Okay, he's twirling there. Well, crap, he's going to attack them. Is Guts going to show up just in time to save them as they're trying to help Luca up? Oh. This is a monster's den. Oh, crap, the spider is right above them. Okay, Skull Knight, You got one job, dude. You just spear that sucker. Spear that spider. Just take your sword and go and kebab it. Let's do this. Come on now. Luca, Nina. She's heavy. Yeah, I'm glad they point this out. I don't know if any of you all have tested your arm strength or anything like that. I think one of the most unrealistic things that happen in media is when people just, especially when in anime and manga, they grab somebody with one arm off a ledge. I'm like, you do realize you would instantly like dislocate your shoulder. Like I get the adrenaline in the moment letting you like hold on, but not for long unless you got a lot of arm strength and you're able to like use your core to help push that person up. That's a hard feat. So I'm glad that Miura at least has the mindset to say, yeah, she's heavy. This is not an easy task. Luca's weight. What I'm holding on to right now is Luca's life. Oh, now come on, show. Don't kill her off. Everything you are is in the palm of my hand. If I were to take these hands. Jerome, look after Nina. No! Oh, don't! No, don't let go, Luca! Show! Oh! She made the choice of letting go. Oh my God. And like the blood coming off of Nina's finger. Oh, Skull Knight chose. Oh, wait, does he have the thing in his arms? Or no, that's just the reins of the horse. Oh my God, Skull Knight's like, you chose wisely. I feel like he's like, you chose wisely. You chose to let go. Oh, did he save her? Oh no, he's saving her and going after the damn spider. Oh. Okay, so saving her and going after the spider. Great. Skull Knight, get this shit done. Thank you for being on the task. We appreciate it. Tally ho. Yeah, we ain't got time for this. Good. I like that Miura's like, okay, we're going to ride out the spider for now. Luca's safe. We're good. Now let's take care of business with these executioners who've been infected by the spider and go from there. And here comes Guts. All right. Yes, please. Oh my God, and there's Casca right there. Oh, he went past him to go get Casca. Oh my God, but is he actually going to get to Casca to save her? Oh, and you cut away. How dare. Oh, no big deal. Just this pile of corpses. You're death, aren't you? Oh, I love that she thinks he's literally the Grim Reaper. And she's like, well, you're the physical embodiment of death. Cool, glad we've come to this point. Very calm for accepting that death's here. Why did you choose to die? She's like, I'm not that commendable. That tower's awfully tall, but it juts out in several sections. I wouldn't have slammed straight into the ground. I thought maybe if a roof was made of wood, it might break my fall, or only my legs. But now that I think about it, that was probably crazy. At the time, I thought that all I could do was for everyone to survive. But now I just keep trembling. But it looks like I didn't make it. I get the feeling I was lucky to not feel any pain. But this, either way, it doesn't look like heaven. It's not. These are the burial grounds that extend across the base of the tower. Oh, huh? So in other words, I'm still alive? So it would seem. Oh my gosh, I love the Skull Knight is like, he rewards if you make a selfless decision. He rewards it, and then he's like, well, actually, you were just kind of being a human and thinking you'll break your fall, but it seemed like a selfless decision. I love Luca, and I love her and the Skull Knight. I like that she's just casually having a conversation with the Skull Knight, like, hey, what's up? If you want to remain so, stay here. Show yourself. Oh, ew. It looks like a frog. It looks like a spider. It looks like a tick. Is it going to, like, attach all of its little antennae to the dead bodies and make them come to life to fight the Skull Knight? Oh, why don't we find out? Come on. So you're the infamous black swordsman. I shall by no means relinquish this witch in the name of God's righteousness. Oh my God, with the wings, and they all have wings. Oh, well, hell. Talk about angels and demons, right? Right. The tried and true discussion of angels and demons. I want to see Skull Knight fight the creepy spider thing. Shit. Okay. Hell's Angels. Yep, there we go. And there we have it. Yes, Hell's Angels. They look like angels, but they're from hell. I mean, all right, Miura. Oh. Okay. Oh, they clanked off of that? Awesome. And that was one of the weapons. Shit. I love that, of course. Of course, Casca's being carried away by these angelic demons. You fool who rebels against God. You'll pay with this sin worth your blood. Oh my God. And of course, they're all like twisted and demented now by the demon that's like injected them and made them all pseudo-apostles. We had one pseudo-apostle and now we have, what was there, like 6? Yes, now we have 6. Also, worth noting, if we're doing the numbers, you had the God Hand of 5 and you have Skull Knight, who I think is Geseric, which makes 6 as well. So what do we do with that? Numbers, y'all, numbers. But also were there 6 members of the Band of the Hawk? Corcus, Judo, Pippin, Casca, Guts, Rickert. Yeah, so the number 6 keep coming up, right? Oh my gosh, what a spread. What a spread. Apostles, no, they're not. They're pseudos, yeah. There'll be plenty of trouble, and there's 7. There's 7 of them. From monsters in the cellar to angels in the tower. I'm fed up with this farce. Yeah, wait, are there 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where's the 7th one? Where's the 7th? There's the twins. There's him. There's that one. 7. I don't see 7. I only see 6. So maybe... maybe he's talking about also the little spider thing would be the 7th. Okay, maybe that's it. I like that Guts is like, this is a farce. Like, this whole concept... Again, Miura's challenging a lot of religious concepts in these chapters by saying, like, this whole idea of self-righteousness and saying, like, heaven versus hell. He's like, you all are the same, and you need to stop. And then, of course, Casca just sitting there like an angel, you know, being angelic. He's here. Monsters, angels, the Black Swordsman, what's going on? Where's Puck? Puck's been absent from this whole thing, right? So is Puck with the demon baby, or is Puck hiding out with Casca to, like, spring at the biggest opportunity? Before we were dispatched here, well, Puck would be back with Farnies, wouldn't they? I guess so. We Holy Iron Chain Knights followed him around. We Holy Iron Chain Knights followed him around for 2 years. Got me. Only those at the top know. I feel like Jerome does not fit the Southern accent, but Azon definitely fits the Foghorn Leghorn. I like Isidro is like, I don't know how all this is going down, and I don't get it, but this guy's a big, like, head honcho, so I'm going to stick around him and maybe get him to owe me something. I knew I was in Target. I'm earning myself a favor. Oh, Isidro, little monkey. So cute. And again, Miura goes from drawing these really cute little moments to just being like, hey, here's some badass action shots as well. Oh, there's Puck. All right, Guts behind you. There we go. Oh my gosh. These shots are incredible. Like, all of the line work, the blood splatter, the dark versus light, the movement. It's not easy to do shots like this, that's for sure. Oh my God. And Guts like a dark spear piercing through angel wings. I mean, symbolically, what else do you want, right? Awesome. Only because I'm in his corner. Yeah. Isidro's like, I can root on Guts and say he's cool because he's not my enemy. I feel like that one guy with the little, oh my God. So the one guy that's trying to attack Guts up there in the corner with the little pinchers, he reminds me of the Heartless in Kingdom Hearts. Drawing reference from Berserk. That's what I keep thinking, that they looked like. They reminded me of something. He reminded me of a Kingdom Hearts Heartless. That's what it is. Awesome. Drawing more Berserk influence. Yes. When did he get so close? Oh my God. No! They're trying to take out his other eye. We do not want Guts to be left blind. No, thank you. Nope. And Guts using that teeth. Someone had commented in the comments for volume 17 that Casca had called Guts a mad dog in the past. And yeah, I remember that. I like to think that Guts has evolved and changed much more to go beyond that label. But at the end of the day, in his base instincts, he can be a dog. So, and maybe that ties to the fox demon being the black dog inside of him. Who knows? Yep. That bite of Guts is a cut above. Yeah, right. No, yeah. Omegaverse fix be damned. Guts definitely has some chompers on him. Oh, this is so good. I worry a little bit of the collateral damage to the infrastructure and how they're just going to tear that tower apart and what can end up happening. But yeah, oh my God. Oh. Oof. Okay. And then there's Farney's. Yeah, Farney's showing up at the rear and seeing just how messed up all of this is. Oh. What? Oh, Guts. Damn! Dim thighs! That shot! See, I feel like you can do some tasteful fan service. This shot of Guts is a good example of tasteful fan service. Very much so. This is bad, kid. We should really run. I'm worried about Luca, too. I'm glad Jerome's worried about Luca. This is on one hyper level. I'm used to it. What are you saying? We can't wait for an opening and snatch Casca? You want to abandon her? Are you serious? If you're a knight, then die in battle for women and children. I want to live for women. I like this concept of, again, we'll talk about this later, but the idea of if you're a knight, die in battle for women and children. Well, I want to live for women. Oh. Oh. Okay. Oh my God. Oh no. Oh, that's, that one angel with the wings and the messed up, like, giant pecs in the head. That would be the one that had the mask, right? Or no, maybe not. Maybe I don't think he's the one that Farney's talked to earlier that had the pretty face. I don't know if that one, because it has the black on it. I think it might be. And then yeah, they're all like, the one has like a cleft mouth and everything, and one has a misshaped head. And they're all like demonic. Oh, damn. One step farther. Meanwhile, Mosgus is just sitting there, just standing there holding Casca while she looks angelic. Again, Hell's Angels. What is this? I like that the Skull Knight doesn't even know. The Skull Knight's like, the hell are you? That's interesting to me. What is it? That's a great question, Skull Knight. What's happening here before my eyes? One unknown in the depths of depths. The Skull Knight has gotten off of his horse, which is something. I don't think we've seen the Skull Knight off of his horse this whole time. Okay. And the fact that he doesn't know what this thing is. Or maybe, okay, wait. Or maybe is this Luca's thoughts? Is she the one saying what's happening before my eyes? It would make more sense if Luca didn't know what was going on. If Skull Knight has no clue what this thing is, then I'd be really, really worried. But if Luca doesn't know, then fair enough. Death and some strange monster in a field of corpses. I like that she calls Skull Knight Death. It's like I've strayed into someone's bad dream. It's not terrifying so much as surreal. No, if I'm going to say that, then those monsters in the tower and Mosgus and his are the same. Even Elaine. What the hell is happening here on holy ground? This indescribable malaise. It's like... It's like the real world has begun to crack, starting here. Yeah, I love this idea because we've had since the eclipse this concept that these two dimensions are intertwining and starting to intermingle and starting to merge. And I feel like Luca's the first one in the human world to kind of comment saying, yeah, it's like everything's starting to crack apart and these worlds are starting to like merge together and it's maybe not a good thing. Oh, that's such a crazy shot. I love her up on top of Mr. Waffles. It's super, super cute. Yeah. Oh, man. But maybe pointing out humanity can be just as sinister as the monsters of hell, right? Oh! This is my garden. Living humans can leave. Oh, ew. It does look like it's kind of rooted into the ground, and the tentacles and the roots kind of make a note as well. Oh, he chopped them off. Good. Oh, but they grew back. Shit. Oh, just show us what you are. Show us what you are. Why are you in the darkness? Ah, shit. No. Why you grab Luca? Oh my God, it got bigger. Nope, not good. Not good. Shit. Not bad. With such wounds, he can't get far, though. But that form of his... What do you know? What do you know, Skull Knight? Quit being cryptic. Tell us what you know. Oh, crap. Well... Uh-oh. Luca, why couldn't you just stay on top of Mr. Waffles? Oh, ew. And like the vertebrae, like, oh my God. Oh. Can we just analyze this one shot alone of the cross made out of human skins? And there's like I think my favorite part about this, I mean, the Leatherface human skin cloak is a nice little symbolism tying to how we all wear different faces and how we all have different appearances depending on who we see. That's interesting enough. But I think my favorite part about this is the skulls consuming one another, like the invertebrate, like consuming one another, kind of like a human centipede sort of thing, but just showing how humans we take each other out one by one to feed our own power. I don't like this at all. What is that? A deific image. An idol made of the skin and bones of priests. Ooh. It's not like those made of stone. Who are you? True power dwells within. I'm nobody. Never having been anyone. Known by anyone. Buried in oblivion. Am I? So creepy. Which, okay, based on chapter 83, the chapter where Griffith became Femto, the idea of true power dwelling within is this concept of, in Miura's mindset, according to Griffith, you are your own god. So your power lies within yourself. It doesn't lie within a power structure or anyone else giving it to you. It comes from you and you alone. My earliest memory is of being in the trash dump at the base of that tower. Since I could first remember, I would hunt for refuse with the maggots and rats, without even knowing who I was. No one ever told me. It's a behelit. The black shadow towering into the sky, piercing cold and hunger. That's all there was. I first knew of myself when, as if driven on by something, I went to spy on the humans above. What is that? A monster. So basically, did he merge with the behelit and become a demon apostle that way? Back down to where I ran, back down to where I belonged. Then I dug a small hole. I came to fish through garbage at night, and by day I'd sit still in the hole, hardly daring to breathe. And so a long, long time passed. The shadow towered firmly, unchanging. My hole grew deeper so I could escape from it. Deeper, unknown to anyone, deeper. I love this idea of, like, it's kind of like Griffith going deeper and deeper into the cocoon to become Femto, and this creature going deeper and deeper to become what it was, and the eyes and everything. And it kind of has like a Gollum feel to it from Lord of the Rings. It's interesting. But one day, a strange thing fell down my hole. A corpse. The first human corpse I'd ever seen. I was unable to move, as if frozen to that spot. And then, one after another came down. At some point, my dwelling was changed into a grave hole for the people who had started settling around here. Oh, I was buried, crushed by corpses at the bottom of the hole, and no one knew about it. Oh, that's the image from the opening. So creepy. But as I was starting to lose consciousness, I met them at the bottom of the hole. The 5 angels. Oh my God! Ah! Oh shit! Well, okay. Okay. Oh. The angels showed me the world. Suddenly I perceived myself and everything surrounding me. All things became words, possessing form and meaning. I comprehended that the intense things filling me were anger, sadness, and fear. Also, that the world I learned of was filled with despair, and that I was nobody, buried and fading away in the deep. I cried out, a cry like both a baby's first and a dying man's last, in a voiceless world. Oh, the despairing tone of Berserk can be a bit overwhelming at times, but Miura, it's like that SNL skit where they're like, you can hate Taylor Swift, but girl can write a song. I'm like, you can hate the despairing negative tone that Berserk promotes 9 times out of 10, but Miura can write a line. That line's so good. So good. And the angels answered me. Because he had the Behelit, right? They said, in exchange for something, we will grant your wish. For something, a wish? Yes. The something is that world, this world that surrounds me. That's a very broad term, this world. Ah. The wish is to hatch the perfect world. Oh my God, it's an egg. Oh my God, yes. So it became an egg. Yes, he basically became a living Behelit. Well, that's awesome. Shit. Yeah, oh my God, that entire thing. Oh. So, yeah, I mean, the concept, how many times have we seen it in media, but the concept of those that are oppressed, those that are driven down into the darkness, when darkness is all you know, and sadness, fear, and anger is all you know, of course, it's going to lead to bad repercussions, right? And leading to a mindset that would be against the very world that you're inhabiting, even if there is good in the world that you can't see. Again, we talk about authors that have kind of taken this concept and sort of evolved it. There's been manga that I've seen and read at this point that has taken that despairing concept and shown an ulterior light to it. And again, as I've said, we're not through the series yet, so Miura may still have that in the works, but it's not lost on me that other series have kind of taken that concept and evolved it as well. The threatened. Oh, Luca, I don't want you to be the tempted girl. Yes, I am an egg. The egg of the perfect world. Oh, shit, and the idea of it, like, is it going to be like when it dies or cracks open, that's going to be when the worlds merge, or when the angels, the 5 God hand come back? Oh my God, I love this. I don't want Luca to get hurt though. I feel like, girl, what we do? The perfect world, what does that mean? I crawled out of my hole and closely observed the newly arrived humans. And the ones I glimpsed there would fall down dead absurdly and indiscriminately. Then the suffering and fear of the living trying to escape that death. The deceit-filled system established to conceal that chaos. Yeah, so basically he's been observing the entire time, as we've seen how messed up this whole system is. He's been observing it. The people caught between the order of the crooked system and death. And we've seen that them looking through the tent and everything. The bizarre festivals where with their own hands they gave shape to the shapeless sphere they wished to escape. Both the hunters and the hunted, everyone of the threatened, was enthralled by heat. Ooh, I really love that comparison there, that comparison and contrast on this page, where it's like them all giving form to their fear. On the one hand, you have the burning and the heat from those being burned at the stake as those having fear of the system, trying to maintain order within it, like burn those that are heretics. And then you see conversely, the other side of the spectrum, where the people they're having the orgy and having the big fire, and are taking their fear and transforming it into this illusion of safety in this like net of orgy around this heat and this deism. Very well done. I like that a lot. That's a really good thing. The world was ugly. My garden was buried by the debris of that ugly world. Yeah, so all the corpses and everything over their garden. Well, what the hell do you mean to do? This grudge, are you going to take revenge on the people of Albion? I like that Luke is like, so what we doing now? What we doing? One time, I caught a sight of a certain girl. The girl lived by selling her body to men. She was possessed by disease, near to death, and about to be crushed at any time by a world full of fear. But the girl had something to rely on, the leader of her group, gathered girls together and lived hardly through the harsh days. Luke is like, is she talking about me and Nina? What's going on? The girl clung to her. She took refuge with her like a torch in the night. But the torch didn't cover the girl in warmth. It threw light upon an unflamed wound hidden by the dark. Luke is like, what are you trying to get me involved in this? Why are you trying to throw this at me? But those threatened by the dark can by no means ever let go of a torch. All they can do is stare in blank surprise at their illuminated, disgustingly cruel selves and continue to suffer it. And to protect their stunted self-esteem, they depend on it, all the while hating it, cravenly, deceitfully. Which, honestly, again, we talk in the comments about how the demons are portrayed as so vile because they see no light themselves. What they are projecting onto others and how they describe others are also how they describe themselves. And that's all they know, so it's all that they can project. Whereas I think by this point in the story, we've seen through Guts, especially in the Cracks in the Blade chapters, with his discussions with Rickard and Erica and the others, that there's actually ways to go beyond the suffering, but these demons keep on just harkening back. They're like a one-note horse. That's all they know, right? And it's whether or not you can see beyond that. I, too, while abhorring this world that only buried and crushed me, cannot escape from that light. No. When it comes to those humans mad with fear, swarming like bugs beneath the tower, nothing will ever change. I like that its text is different, like the font is different. That's such a little thing, but I really like it. There is the ugly, the craven, the deceitful, the threatened, they who cling as they hate. There is but one thing we truly desire. It is the first and last piece decisively missing from this world. Ooh! And it has a brand on its tongue. Oh! Interesting. So is it sought out too? Is that it? Namely. Oh, so one thing that we truly desire, the missing piece from this world. So basically that light source, I like that, of course, it's in the shape of the white hawk, that those that suffer in the darkness, they're craving that light. They're craving that sanctuary. They're craving that love that will give them reason to exist, that gives them purpose. It's interesting that that creature has a sacrifice mark on its tongue. So was the reason it was so misfortunate because it was being hunted down? Interesting. Meanwhile, oh my God. Oh. And it's interesting because Guts seems to notice that the demon there is crying, that the pseudo-apostle is crying, but he's like, well, I can't stop now. I got to push through it. But it is nice in that moment for Guts to kind of show that he is thinking about things like this. And he's not unempathetic, but he knows he has to keep moving on. And everybody else just kind of on the sidelines like, well, we don't know what we're going to do in this situation. What can we do? Like, who else is going to fight this monster that has a literal Wheel of Fortune in its hands? Or not a Wheel of Fortune necessarily, but like it's that game on The Price is Right where you spin the wheel and it like has the little numbers on it. It's like you get to the final round. That's literally what that demon faux apostle looks like carrying. Oh, but he sliced off its arm. He put a dagger through that one's eyes. Oh my God. Oh, that shot of Guts with the sword down there at the bottom is really, really good. It's a good perspective. He's fighting with those freaks and he's winning. Is he human? Of course he's winning because he's the man. If you train hard under me someday, you too will be a monster of elf dimension style. Puck, I freaking love you. I love that Puck is just on the sidelines here, just giving us the levity that we need in this moment. He's the man. Yeah, Isidro knows what's up. Meanwhile, Farnese is like, what is this? What is, like, Farnese is having an existential crisis times 12 as all this is going on. Oh, uh-huh. I'm scared. I'm so scared, Luca. The threatened. Yeah, again, as the little spider behelit demon pointed out that she's, like Nina, having this safety net. She wants to go back to depending on Luca to move forward. I don't know if the series is suggesting, it almost seems like the demon is suggesting that the light source is a negative thing and that we have to depend on it, but in the end it's just causing us to be stagnant and not grow. I mean, granted, the ones making this statement are the antagonists, the villains of the series. So I think you're supposed to disagree with them and be like, well, no, that's not necessarily the case. You can seek to have a purpose in life and an anchor, and it can be someone. That's not necessarily a bad thing. You still should think for yourself and move forward for yourself, but it's not a problem to have someone you care about or love. And I feel like that's kind of where Guts' character is at. But I think that the behelit demon making that mindset is kind of, that's the point. It's the antagonist. We're not supposed to fully believe it. Father Mosgus, what is that form? When the black swordsman appears, it breaks. The world I recognize comes crashing down in ruins. Oh, I really like this. I like the idea of Guts and the Skull Knight kind of being the sort of like, they break through the system and they're kind of outliers. They just kind of like with Guts going through, there's this system that the world surrounding Guts kind of sees through all that. And he kind of like cuts through all the bullshit and reveals how the world really is. And for someone like Farnese, who has very much relied upon the system for her own sanity, yeah, that's kind of a problematic thing for her, because Guts pointing out the hypocrisy and the bullshit of it all, that would like completely break down your worldview and make you have to take a hard look at reality. And Farnese has been very much avoiding that most of the time. He's dreadful. Yeah, I also like Miura saying that it is this concept of having to look at the real world and think about things and realize what a shit show it can be. It is dreadful, but you're not going to grow as a person and become a better person until you can take a hard look at that. So, man, damn. Omens. Okay. Oh, and Nina. Yes, that child threatened by the dark night has her imaginary cloak of faith burned away and is illuminated. Ooh, that's such a line. That's such a line. Her imaginary cloak of faith burned away and is seeing the flames of reality, maybe? Oh, get a hold of yourself. Let me go. Let me go. You want to die that badly? You're the one who's going to die. Oh my God. Jerome and Isidro over here with Puck. Oh. His hood's all in pieces. Okay, so no, he's still alive. Yep. This is a task for us. Go and accomplish your own holy task, Father Mosgus. Yeah, okay, so he's the one that Farney saw earlier. He's been obviously injected by the demon too, but we don't see what's under the mask yet. Ah, damn it. It would seem I lost my composure a bit. Twins, it's up to you to guard the master. Then let's go. And Guts is like, well, son of a bitch. Oh. I love that there's Puck with the little dew seed there, the little seed pod. So be it. It's come to this. Isidro punch. Oh no. Oh my god. What? Why are you there? Elf strike. Angel go stabity. Oh shit. Oh. Uh-oh. You guys. I don't want you all to be hurt and in trouble. Nope. Oh. Crap. And shooting feathers like knives at him. Oh my god. No, with the talons. Shit, no! Crap. Oh. No, that couldn't possibly. It's the truth. You two have already seen several of what humans would call monsters. No, miracles. Oh, damn it, Guts! To be sure, there were those among them I was involved with, but all I did was grant them the power they desired. Here on holy ground, everything is starting to flow towards that time. I'm doing nothing more than nudging it slightly. Oh, that's so sinister. That's so sinister. Don't listen to him, Luca. Don't listen to him. You yourself guided that witch to this place, didn't you? Perhaps without knowing it. As you humans would put it, all are omens pointing towards that time. It's the guidance of a greater will, or possibly the gates of fate. Soon it will appear. In exchange for such a tiny, no, for something that never even existed in this world. My existence. So he's willing to sacrifice himself to bring about this new world led by Femto and the others. Awesome. Why would you bring me here? Why'd you make me listen to all that? Oh my god. Skull Knight. Yeah, I mean, like, what's the point of Luca hearing all this unless you're trying to corrupt her too? But then there's Skull Knight being like, enough of this bullshit. Oh. It doesn't matter who. Just so before I disappear, someone hears my story. Oh. He still had that much strength. No. A hesitation in my sword. That it's not yet time to kill him. Oh my god! I think the Skull Knight is driven by fate, which is interesting, right? Death, who are you? No, who are you and all the others? I like that Luke is asking the important questions. Luke is just like, and I also like that the little Behelit demon like just wanted to tell someone, and Luke is probably the most rationally minded for him to tell. So he's like, here you go, here's my story. And Luke is like, okay. But yeah, Luke asking the important questions. That which those of your world would do well to not become too involved. I like that she's like, who are you? And he's like, somebody you shouldn't know. It's like, that doesn't tell us any answers. Although, depending on what happens at this holy ground, the truth itself could change. She's like, what? So, as my dogs are running, you'll have to excuse them. So basically the Skull Knight is saying like, fate is leading us down this pathway, but because it's involving Guts and Casca, who are kind of outside the laws of causality, there's still possibilities of things changing and not going a certain way. It's going to depend on the choices of Guts and Casca. No pressure. No pressure at all. Oh. What? Oh, ow. Oh. What did we do? Oh, the crow came down and gave him something. Oh, did he eat the Behelit? Oh, shit. It's too soon for thanks. Oh, wow. So, yeah, so that crow did come down and give him a behelit, right? Is that correct? To eat? But what's happening? Does Skull Knight power up from eating behelits? What is going on? Omens. Oh, cool. The chapter's called Martyrdom. Well, that's... I don't like that chapter title at all. It's futile. If you continue to resist, you'll lose that left eye of yours. Leave him alone. Guts has already lost one eye. It's bad enough. Shit. Oh my gosh. Oh, and in his face, in his everything, in his other eye that he's already lost. No. And of course, the last thing he's seeing is Casca getting taken away from him. Oh, no. Oh, no, and Isidro and Puck's with him now. Shit. No, time out. Oh, no. Well, this isn't good. Not good at all. Oh. For the sin of attempting to kill one of the clergy. Ooh, the mask is like a bird. Oh, his face has become like that. You're hereby condemned to death by the wheel. Oh, my God. Oh. Poor Guts. Speaking of Foghorn Leghorn. Just getting just mashed around by these birdmen. Birdmen. Oh, my gosh. The thing is, they all look like they're kind of in pain as they're doing all of this. So it's like they were given power, but at what cost? Oh. Damn, Guts. Guts just every volume. It's like, our struggler, what can we do? Farney's just sitting there doing nothing. He's done for. I can't dodge. And if I can't, well then... Oh my God. Oh, what you gonna do, Guts? Oh, just fire through him. Oh, no. Oh. Oh, all the guts. All the guts. Speaking of which. Oh my God. Guts, a feast for crows. Am I right? Oh my gosh. Oh. A cannon. He had something that dangerous up his sleeve. Nina's like, no more. Man, oh yeah. The one guy, his face is fused with the bird with the death mask. That's so creepy. What kind of man would not try to dodge the wheel? He used it in order. Oh, shit. Oh, crap. And there he goes. 1, 2, 3. Oh. Oh. Well, there goes our eyeball. Dear Lord, I am most grateful that in the last moments of our lives, burdened by grotesque form and harsh destiny, you saw fit to prepare for us a miracle such as this. Oh my God. Oh. There's a part of me that feels for these disciples who have been they've been driven into this cult because of who they are, and now they're martyrdom. They're all gonna die for that. But Guts, what about his neck? What about this? Oh, and he cut it off. Oh wow, you can see the eyes through the eyeballs of the death mask. Oh, with his neck. And more than anything, for the miracle that we chanced to meet Father Mosgus. Oh. Martyrdom, yeah. Damn. Oh. What can you do? What can you do? Poor Guts, though. That thing around his neck. Yeah, shit. Again. Guts is like, why is it always got to be this way? And then, yeah, walking past her. Jerome's like, when did you get here? She's shaking at the sight of him. Yeah. If anything is going to challenge her question of faith, it's Guts in this moment. Why is there gotta be an earthquake? But why? No. Collapse. Well, what a chapter. What a chapter. What the? Of course, yeah, it's gonna, like with Conrad making the face out of all of the rats, is this gonna be like all the corpses coming together to make this big entity? Yep, sure is. Wow, this seems a lot, this seems a bit reminiscent of the Eclipse. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like where this is headed. This feels eclipsy. Is it weird that they're kind of cute? Is it weird that the faces are kind of cutesy, even though they're made out of corpses? I just love how Luca is so calm. Luca's just like, at this point, why freak out? I've got death with me. I've got Mr. Waffles. We're all set. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, you know. And then there's its face, the Behelit's face. It's like the monster in the tower, only a lot more of it. It's the embodiment of the malice that permeates this place. It resonates with the one in the tower. But even if the branded are gathered in one place, for it to take such a pronounced form without the gate opening, she's like, what? The time is ripe. It noticed us. Oh, yeah. Skull Knight's like, okay, so we haven't had a Behelit activate the gate, but all this is happening, so something's about to go down. He's like, it's probably the time that Casca's about to get burned at the stake. Things are about to happen. We're about to have a choice. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, Skull Knight's like, tally-ho! When I see this many signs manifesting, perhaps throughout this entire holy ground, it's already beginning. Tally-ho! Oh my God, and there it is. Oh, so it's still on the ground there in its little state. Oh my God. I'm like this Skull Knight keeps like, he rescues Luca through all this. He's like, let's go. He's like, it's already time for all this to go down, so what can we do? Reporting, several dozen heretics who attempted to flee the underground cells have been restrained. They were all in a state of panic and spoke something about monsters. Right now, we know nothing definite. I say, and Lady Farney's whereabouts. We've yet to confirm them. Azon, what in God's name is going on here? If something happens to Miss Farney's, who will take responsibility? And he's just like, I don't get paid enough for this. Why? All I wanted to do is escape the troublesome holy city and spend the rest of my years quietly in this remote land. Why? Why is this? I feel like it's somewhat of... I think it's somewhat interesting that this is considered remote. There's still all these people here, but it's not as populated as like a major city. So feels like it's able to establish this all going down, you know, without creating as maybe ripples that connects to everywhere else. I say, what is this? Oh my God. Azon, my dude. I don't know, man. I don't like this either. Yep. Uh-huh. Oh, it's just like, it's like all of the negativity, all of the malice, all of the evil, all of the sins of this area just manifesting. Awesome. Cool beans. That's such good art though. Oh, forgive, pain, it hurts. I'll kill, God, please. I don't want to die. Like all their last thoughts coalescing into this moment. I say, all hands evacuate. Get away from the tower. Oh my God. Yeah, everything's crashing down. This is bad. This is really bad news. Oh, Farney's. Oh, you knew Serpico was going to come in. You knew Serpico wasn't going to let her fall to her death. You knew this was going to happen. Oh my God. But Guts didn't make it to save her. Oh, Serpico. Oh, damn. And Jerome and Nina and all of them. It's interesting that all this is crashing down into this big pit. What do we do about that? But it's like, you knew the battle was going to cause some collateral damage. Serpico looks really great there, by the way. Oh, good Lord. And all the birds in the air. Well, it's the three of them. Oh my God, the tower is a hand. Oh, the God hand. the tower, the top of it, looking like a hand. This is a problem. This is a problem. Yeah, at the top of the God hand. Wow, this is looking awfully eclipsy. Looking pretty familiar. Not liking where this is headed. Nope. Oh, and the sun's coming out. Don't worry. I'm sure that's a great sign of things to come. Shadows of Idea, Part 1. I don't know. I used to think the sun coming out was a good sign, but the light bursting through on this hand-shaped tower that's been, connected to all these thoughts about angels and demons and everything. I mean, cool for Miura to bring in this light source to make this really cool piece of art, but... Shit. The tower, what in the world happened? Hold right there, Pepe. What good is you going down there? I hear something from the refugee slums. Oh, shit. Oh my God. They're all getting possessed by the demons in the slums. Oh my God. Well, this is the eclipse all over again. Oh my God, this kid. Oh shit. Oh no, it's like a zombie infestation. Oh my God, why? Miura! Why are all these kids getting eaten by these demons? The fudge, Miura! Oh my God, it's like a zombie horde eating all these kids. Why are you showing their entrails? What? Damn it, Miura, this is terrifying. Oh my God. Heretic sorcery, they're possessed by evil spirits. It's gonna form the brand. Yeah. It's gonna form the brand. Oh no. Yep. This is bad. This is very, very bad. Oh no. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. And I'm like, it's like such a twist on the Bonfire of Dreams, because in the Bonfire of Dreams you had Guts overlooking this like mountainside from atop this high place, and he saw like the fires from down below, and it looked like little fireflies and like hopes and dreams. It was all like peaceful and optimistic, and this is like the hell version of that. Oh my God. Oh. Yeah. And Guts is like, well, so there's a hand-shaped tower I'm standing upon, which seems rather familiar. There's a giant brand made out of fire and demons everywhere. This all seeming kind of like deja vu. I don't like where this is headed. I say get as far away from the tower as you can. I say those with free hands help the wounded. Lady Farnese. The refugees, have mercy. Oh my God. I say, what has happened in the Heretic Cave? This is what happened in the Heretic Cave. Yeah, this is a large scale of it. Oh my God. And so there's all these demons coming up. All these demons possessing the corpses, possessing the people. And then in the center of all this, there's this flame. Oh, of course. God breath. Oh my God. Like he's a holy Charizard. Wow. And them flying down. And of course, they're going to pin this all on Casca, who had absolutely nothing to do with this. I say that's Mosgus. They're angels. Oh no, he took a Seadro and flung him away. No! Oh damn it, fucking a Seadro. Oh hell no. Lambs of God, there's nothing to fear. Whatever supernatural acts those of heresy may commit. If your faith be without one blot, God shall surely smite the power of evil and show us to a miracle. See this form of mine. This is the manifestation of God's power, wings with which to sweep away wickedness. Oh my gosh. Holy shit. Well, and Guts is like, well, if I go down there, I'm going to look like an asshole. This is bad. This is very bad. Gonna get everybody against Guts because Mosgus is gonna make himself look like a saint when he's not. And here we have the concept of the white sheep and the black sheep, the master of the black sheep, the ruler of the white sheep, right? Like ruling over those who are blind. Ah, shit. A blessed angel. Yeah, our guardian angel, Father Mosgus. Well, you know, if Guts kills him, they're all going to rally against Guts as a monster because he's framed himself as this freedom fighter. We shall now burn the witch, the ringleader of the heresy running amok in this holy place at the stake. We'll put an end to these abominable monstrosities. And Guts is like, why can't we have nice things? Miura, why can't we go through with this? No, because this is all setting up something horrible. Shadows of Idea Part 2. I mean, theoretically, if Guts just takes Casca and runs, problem solved. Now, I say problem solved. He has a hell of a journey to get to her to save her, but all he has to do is go get her and run away. Grab Isidro, grab Puck, say, hey guys, it's been fun, bye, and then run away. But I don't know how this is going to work. Oh my God. And of course, they're just going through all the refugees. It's like killing two birds with one stone. They're just going to kill all the refugees because they're possessed by demons and then getting rid of the heretics at the same time. Oh my God. And using his like dragon breath. Wow. And then that shot. Oh my God. It's like the horsemen of the apocalypse, except they're angels. And they have the white wings like the white hawk. And they're like, erect a pillar while we hold back the demons. And the insane thing is that it's like, there's no good ending for Guts with this, right? There is no good ending for Guts in this situation. If he lets Casca die, if he tries to save her, he's going to be branded as a supreme heretic and a demon and be hunted down the rest of his life. There are no good solutions for Guts in this. There is no happy ending for Guts in any of this. Oh, I love Azon being like, the only thing we can do, I say. As knights, we have but one task before us, I say. Everyone charge, protect the people from the demons. I like that Azon is choosing kind of the neutral route, being like, well, we're not going to establish the pillar. Don't know if I'm on board with this, but we need to protect the people from the demons. Let's do that instead. That seems like a much more reasonable task. Oh, that damn dirty craghead tossing people around like stones. I'm sorry, that was bad. A stoned thief, Isidro. Oh, Puck trying to cheer him up. And I love Puck trying to grab a hold of him. I wonder if Guts and the others are okay. Pissing me off. Oh, man. Leave her alone. Guts is like, why we gotta do this? Why we gotta do this? We can't go a volume without them ripping off Casca's clothes. I'm like, just leave her like that. Miura, just leave her like that. See, they've got a hold of her. It's not good. They got all over her hair and clothes. We don't need you to rip off her clothes. You've done that how many times now? Just stop. I'm going to stop you right here. Say it's not necessary. Just leave her alone. Leave her alone. We get it. We get it. Oh. And then there's Guts down there. Oh my God. Oh, wow. And all the demons are becoming like, oh my God. Oh no. And then the disciples are all coming up and being enveloped by the demons and becoming these huge entities. What? Oh my God, Miura, this is terrifying. No. Oh shit. They're still alive. Oh my God. Wait. That there in the middle, is that Void? With the frills around him, it almost looks like Void. What? Oh, 4 angels. This is what it means. Oh my God. Yes, the 4 of them surrounding them. Oh my God. Here we go. Here we go, bitches. Oh my God. Yep. They were just being swallowed by it. Yes. I knew that frilly frock, only that could be Void. Oh my God. Ah! Shit. Where's Femto? Where's number 5? Where's the thumb? Where we at? Oh God, yeah, of course. Guts is like, shit, not good, triggered. Oh. Are the dead spirits just taking on these shapes? What will follow now is a shadow. no more than a shadow cast high above the earth by light from a distant dying sun. Okay, I'm glad Guts stopped for a second. He's like, wait, then these aren't the real thing. I'm this close, but that sharp pain and the brand's not there. They're not real. Then where is he? Now, Guts, you got to make a choice. You going to save Casca or you going to fight Griffith? You got to make a choice. I don't think fighting Griffith is going to do anything for you right now. Fight or rescue. Your lover will be left alone. It won't be as simple as catching two birds. Yep, at a time like this, he's like, he's like, why am I hesitating? Why am I focusing on these stupid demons when I have Casca right in front of me? Yes, exactly. Burn her! Burn her! She weighs the same as the duck! Burn her! We'll be saved if we burn her! Damn it. Move, bitch! Get out the way! Oh, shadow of an idea too. Oh my god, yeah. Oh shit. Well, is Guts gonna be able to reach her or not? We're not gonna get through. We're not gonna find out an answer by the end of this volume, are we? No, we're not. We're not, are we? Oh, Shadow of Ideas, part 3. Oh my god, and Guts is stuck at the top of the damn hand. How is he gonna save her? Now, okay, making predictions with this. We have, up until this point, established the idea that Farnese, because she wears her faith like a cloak, has always burned people as a means of furthering this facade that she's protected by her faith and she doesn't have to expose her inner demons. It would be a twist. It would be a twist if Farnese makes the decision to save Casca because she knows Casca's close to Guts. Guts right now is distracted by all of these demons. Farnese and Serpico are there. She could amend and atone if she was part of Serpico's mother's death. She could atone for that. She could embrace the fact of knowing herself beyond her faith if she saved Casca. That would be an amazing development for her character, an amazing come full circle moment, and would provide more depth to the story as a whole. But we'll see what happens. I'm just saying, it's a possibility. The same as that time with the same outcome. I like that Guts is like, I got to keep on trying to rescue her like damn Princess Peach over here. And, granted, Casca and Guts look amazing on that page. I just hate that circumstance that they're in. Oh my god, again, I can't save her. I want Guts to be able to save her this time. I want him to be able to save her this time. Like, this artwork is beautiful, and I'm taking nothing away from it, but I want him to be able to save her. And the demon baby was thrown back, so what do we do with that? Oh. Thanks a lot. Girl, if you I like Skull Knight being like, girl, if you value your life, approach not that tower. Distance yourself from here without delay. I'd very much like to run away, but I can't just do that. It doesn't look like I can do much as just one person. And maybe I'm just being stubbornly stupid. But I have to go. I see. I like that you guys are gonna have to stay down here. I like that Skull Knight's like, you know, if you were smart, you would you distance yourself from here. But Luca's like, I could do that, but I got Nina, Jerome, I gotta go take care of them and make sure they're okay. I can't just run away. I gotta go face it. She's like, I appreciate all the help, Death. Thanks, bye now. She has the bearing of one off to deal with some triviality. I want Skull Knight and Luca to go on adventures. Can I have the Skull Knight and Luca adventures? It feels, the vibe I get from Luca and Skull Knight, I don't know if you've ever watched the movie Hogfather. It's based off the, Hogfather is the only adaptation I've watched, but Death is personified and Death has a daughter. And the daughter, very much the way that Luca interacts with Skull Knight reminds me of the way that Death's daughter interacts with him. But it's from a Discworld series. But Hogfather is the only part of Discworld that I've watched. But it has a very kind of Berserk fantasy vibe to it. And Skull Knight reminds me a lot of Death in that series, which is really fun. Which in Hogfather, Death is voiced by, he voices Sauron in Lord of the Rings. Christopher Lee. And I really would like Christopher Lee to voice Skull Knight. I think that'd be fun. So yeah, I'm like, I appreciate Luca going back, even though Skull Knight is fully correct that she should stay away. With that much horror before her eyes, to cast herself back into the middle of it, and without even a hint of wishing to rely upon my power. No, it doesn't even cross her mind. Ignorant foolhardiness. Or else. But then if my assistance was solicited now, I would be unable to comply. All moves as if parallel to that time. You can kind of see like Zod in the midst. Oh shit, yeah. Oh man. I love that Skull Knight seems to respect Luca being like, ignorant foolhardiness, but I kind of respect it. Like, she didn't even ask for my help. She just going in the fray. What a woman. Ah, yeah! Yeah, bitches! There's Zod! Oh, and he's got his little horn is going with his little crushing there. Man, he bulked up with his new armor, got all set. Although, I will say, if Luco stayed back there, Zod might have hurt her, so... Look at these two. Look at my ship, my main ship right there on the page for me. Come on now. What we doing? Yep, and he's here, which means the Behelit's probably going to be activated. Oh, unfortunately, there is no way for man to change the course of this festival. We already subsist within the current of causality. Okay, well, Femto is nowhere to be seen. It's just the four of them. I don't like where that's headed because I have a feeling next volume who's going to show up to give Guts the choice. We all know it's coming. They're going to end this volume showing us Griffith. I have no doubt. A little more. In a scant time, my life will run out. That will be the time when, at least at the end, I will watch from the summit as my world perishes. Maybe if those torturers I had met that priest somewhere along the line, would my life have been that other than it is now? Would I have been called one of them and become somebody? Oof, this idea of power giving agency. Oh, but no, I didn't meet him. No, rather, my life existed for the purpose of looking down from that summit of solitude. I sense that now. I kept looking up at this world. All it did was look down on me. Enough. Let it end. Oh no, the baby! No, leave the baby alone. Leave the baby alone. This baby saved that witch many times. This is a body of flesh, but it's no ordinary human. It's dying, its power spent. You're the same as me, then, misshapen babe. What we doing? Oh no! No! What are you? No, stop! Let us die together. At least you can dream in your cradle of the new world inside of me. Why? What the fudge? What is happening? What? What the fudge? Is that going to be the volume? Oh my God, that's going to be the volume. Why is it eating the baby? Why is it eating the baby? I don't know how to feel about this because on the one hand, it's eating, it ate the baby, but I don't think the baby's dead. On the other hand, the baby was dying. So on the other hand, I don't know. Everybody in the comments that has not been labeled as a spoiler comment has made the statement that they believe that this is Guts and Casca's baby, which I did as well. And I like the symbolic thematic symbolism of it being Guts and Casca's baby. Right. what's weird is that the state that it's in, the fact that it was a light source for Casca kind of resembles Griffith. The fact that Griffith was a light source that Casca gravitated towards that gave her a safety net. That's exactly what this baby has done. And the fact that the baby, as it was lying there dying, very much, and is all misshapen and deformed, resembles Griffith when he had his tongue cut out and was being escaped from the tower. That comparison is not lost on me. And then the idea that a behelit shaped demon literally consumes him, and now he's in this fetal position like Femto was before like Griffith was before he became Femto, is also not lost on me. So if this is Guts and Casca's baby, then why is there all of this symbolism tying to Griffith? And what do we do with this? Like, the baby up until now seems to be like a positive source, like a creation of love. So is it going to burst out from the behelit demon? Is it going to suck up the behelit demon and use him as an energy source and regain his strength that way? Is he going to become a full-on demon or become an apostle? Like, what? Is it going to use the behelit inside of that demon to make a wish and save Guts and Casca? What? I don't know if I'm going to be able to wait for volume 21. I don't know if I'm going to be able to wait. I just don't know at this point. Okay. Oh my God. I don't know if I'm going to be able to wait for volume 21. I just don't. So this volume, oh my God, this volume has been something. And this volume has put things in a much more positive light for me, which I'm very happy about. I'm very grateful for that. So that's a good thing, right? That's always good. So in any case, you may be wondering why I kept referring to this board earlier. At this point in the manga, before we go on to volume 21, as I was reading volume 19, I was trying to articulate kind of my thoughts on where Miura is at in this journey as a whole, and the good and the things I want to question with Miura and his writing. And the good news is, over the last couple volumes, since volume 17, with 18 and 19, and now this volume 20, I do appreciate what Miura is giving us. And I want to talk about that. And I want to be very honest, kind of to articulate where my thoughts with the characters are, and kind of to give you all an idea of where my headspace is. Because also, when you react to a volume emotionally in the moment, there's not really time for reflection. Even though I take my time and talk through the story, there's not time for reflection on it. The thing about it is, it's kind of hilarious, is that there's been some comments where people have been like, oh, well, Romania is, a victim of SA and Romania is a feminist, so that's where she's coming from. And some of the comments were saying that in a very negative way, which I'm sorry I was a victim of SA. I don't know what to tell you about that one. But yeah, I am a feminist, not a bra-burning feminist necessarily, which is why I wanted to save this to the end, because I was like, as soon as I point this out, I have a feeling that that the people that were angry at me before, welcome to the patriarchy. Okay, so this madness that I've constructed over the course of the last couple days and the last couple of weeks of me just looking over things, let's talk about it, okay? Because I want to articulate where I'm at the point. We're almost to the halfway point of the series. We're almost to the halfway point. So now it seems like a good time to check in, especially with whatever the fudge this thing is doing with the baby. We're going to leave that. But I kind of want to talk to y'all about sort of where I'm at in terms of the storytelling and why I critique the way that I critique about it. And so I want to look at what I think Miura is trying to do, and kind of not only the pushback that he gets, but also I feel like Miura is in a struggle of his own, right, with the storytelling. So we're going to talk about the patriarchy and Miura's struggle. patriarchy it's a whole thing. There's a lot. There are books written about the patriarchy. It's a societal. It is a structure that is connected to culture, connected to society, connected to elements of power, to sexuality, to a large portion of things. And I went online and did research with sociologists. Walby is like one of the main sociologists that I looked at her work, but also went and looked at the Asian Pacific Institute of Gender-Based Violence because this is a Japanese manga. So I wanted to get an influential source based on cultural references from that to draw into some of my research and to talk about that as well. But I've got a couple comments I want to address with this and all of this and go through this with you before we end this volume and just kind of show you sort of where I'm at in analyzing the characters and things like that. And to give some clarification to some comments that keep popping up over and over again. And hopefully after doing all of this, you'll kind of have a better understanding of where my mindset is. And whether you agree or not with me, totally up to you. I'm not going to be mad if you disagree. My whole thing is like, I appreciate when we have dialogue and discussions, but the thing that always strikes me that's kind of humorous as a rhetorician and somebody that studies rhetoric and the art of persuasion is the idea that people, they want to point out how you are wrong and not value any possible things that you bring to the argument. And it's like, okay. And granted, there are some things that on a moral scale, you kind of go, yeah, there's not really a good side to that. Murder, when you kill someone, there's a lot of people justify it in lots of ways, but at the end of the day, you've taken a life. So you can believe that that is good or bad, depending on, and then, we get into the gray area of the situation, right? I don't personally believe that there is any justification at all for sexually assaulting someone. I don't believe that there is any justification for that at all. I think that one of the arguments that I have come to in the comments is a lot of people are like, well, there's a lot of murder in this story, but you're okay with that. And I would say to that, first and foremost, I started out the story going in and knowing that there was going to be violence. And if I just called out every violent moment in this series, we'd be here all day, right? And it wouldn't be enjoyable to watch me complain about every moment of violence because I'm a pretty nonviolent person myself. But there is gray area, I would argue, and people can argue it as well, where you talk about self-defense. You talk about when people are, veterans who have been involved in a war that are reading this story. Like, there's something to be said with that. And the idea of people that have defended themselves, the idea of you can find ways, I'm sure, to justify an act of violence in that case of self-defense, or if it's part of your duty in a situation that you're in, whether or not it's good or bad, there are ways that people can argue that. And I fully understand that. I don't know an argument that justifies sexual assault. I don't. It's not self-defense. It's an act of oppression. It's an act of offensive action, not something of defense. Like defending yourself is something different, but it's just not, I don't think it's defendable. And I think that does separate it in this story, right? So there is that. But what I want to talk about with the patriarchy and Miura's struggle throughout this is that I'm a female reader. So naturally I look at this, and I'm also a character-driven person. So when I read stories, I read for the characters, I read for the development of those characters and for their stories. So I think that there needs to be something said about what Miura is doing in terms of this story. So let's talk about that. We have the idea of the status quo of power, devaluation of women, and to Miura's credit. Now, when I say devaluation of women, we're going to talk about how things that Miura does correctly, right? Because a large criticism with patriarchal structures in media is that there is a status quo of power where men have all the power, women are not able or capable of having power in a story, and they are devalued, right? And I would say that there are ways in which Miura really challenges this, which I really like. There are also ways in which Miura does keep the status quo and doesn't challenge it, but we're going to talk about that here in a second. So the idea, I think honestly, the devaluation of women doesn't necessarily come from Miura, but more so from what I've seen at this point from the fandom. Like the idea of culture using tradition as a means of maintaining status quo. So anytime somebody in the comments are like, well, but Miura's doing that because that's how it's always been. That's a patriarchal structure trying to maintain status quo. Anytime somebody's like, oh, well, that just happens all over the time, get used to it, which has literally been a comment someone gave to me. I was like, okay, hi patriarchy, how we doing? So that's also a status quo of power. It's not when you don't challenge something, but just say, well, that's how it's always been, so why change it? That is trying to keep the status quo in check, right? And I honestly think that the fandom justifies this more than Miura, especially in the comments that I've seen so far. So to Miura's credit, and I want to give full credit to Miura because I love this series and I love what it's doing. One thing I really like that Miura is doing is that there is a lot of female characters. When I started this story and when I was watching the anime, I was really worried Casca was going to be like the only woman. And I was like, ooh, especially after episode 25, I was like, oh, is this all we're getting from Casca? Oh no, is she going to be our only female character? Oh no. But especially with this arc in particular, in meeting Nina, in meeting Farnese, in meeting Luca especially, and from the last volume's arc where we met Rosine and Jill, I really appreciate that Miura is giving us a plethora of female characters that are all distinct and different. They're passing the Bechdel test where they're all talking to each other, having conversations with other male characters that aren't involved romantically. It's doing a lot of good things, and I want to recognize that. That's really, really important, right? And not all of them are objects of the male gaze. That's one thing I've really appreciated, knock on wood, about Luca, is that she is not a character that's subjected to the male gaze. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but I appreciate that there are, like Erica, for example, and by the end of Jill's arc, Jill, some non-sexualized female characters. Cool. Good, right? And then, of course, we have Guts, who is our feminist icon, that he's having none of this essay. He's having none of this darkness. He's like, why the fudge are we doing this, folks? Guts is by far, I think Guts and Puck are my two favorite characters for very, very different reasons. But Guts is our feminist icon. He is all out here. He loved Casca because she wasn't just like some girly girl. He loved her because she was equal to him. And she helped make him better just as he made her better in ways. And there was this equitable relationship, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But that's what I really love about Guts. And the fact that his journey is to try and save her. Now, the big question with Guts is going to be, is he going to choose to save her? Or is he going to go after Griffith? That's the choice placed in front of him at the end of this volume. That's what Skull Knight told him. That's what Godot has told him. They've been pretty explicit over what choice he should make. But I'm going to be curious, is he going to make that choice? Is he going to choose the correct answer, which is your invaluable thing you can save? Or are you going to go after something unobtainable? Because at this point, like, can we save Femto? Or does Femto even want to be saved? Right? So I like Miura, and I will give Miura credit from volume 17, because volume 17 is a pretty dark. Volumes 14 and 17, 13, 14, and 17 are pretty questionable volumes. I will give Miura credit for volumes 19 through 20. He has done a lot more, if you notice, in breaking the fourth wall using Puck and Isidro to call out some of the problematic elements. It almost seems like Miura is realizing in the moment, ugh, this is a little bit, it's a little bad, so maybe I should just point that out. Like Isidro in the last volume being like, why is this happening? It's like, yeah, Miura's almost pointing out kind of the problematic elements, saying like, yep, sorry about that, but here we go, and doing that. So I do appreciate him using Isidro and Puck to break the fourth wall and call out more of those elements as we go. And then the writing delving into growth and perseverance beyond darkness, that's been a big point in a lot of the comments that people have made. I want to go through some of these at the moment, talking about Fane Wolf's comment that, and basically a lot of the things Fane Wolf said, I've said in my discussions, but they kind of articulated it into one direct comment in volume 17. So basically saying that essay can be a narrative tool. Yeah. This has been brought up in the comments so much where people are like, why are you against sexual assault? It's no different than murder. I'm like, I'm not against it being used as a narrative tool. I don't think people are quite understanding what I'm saying, so I'm going to articulate it here. And hopefully the message gets through. It's not the fact of sexual assault being used as a narrative tool. One, it's the overuse of it, which we'll talk about in a minute, that is not necessary. That's what I mean by not necessary. It's you can get your point across. It's sort of like whenever somebody does a stand-up routine and they keep dropping the F-bomb, after a while it loses its effectiveness and the point kind of gets lost in its overuse. So that is part of it. But also it's the way that it's done. And I would use this person's example. They're like, well, Guts is a great example of someone working through sexual assault and like incorporating that trauma into their existence and working through it. And I'm like, yeah, he's our main character. Yes, he does do that rather well. But it's, for me, when you look at the sexual assault on Guts's character, it's like one page. At the very beginning, it's one page. That's all you needed. And everybody quotes that one page being so powerful and showing like, oh my God, look what happened to Guts. And now he's working through it and everything. Exactly. One page. That's all we needed. But you go to characters like Casca and Farnese, who had, I don't know, 10 to 20 pages devoted. And the ways that they're drawn in those sexual assault positions, the artwork that's done that is more titillating than horrifying. And then you look at Guts, the scales are a little unbalanced. And I think it's important to call that out because it is in fact a case, right? I think it's important to call out also that Guts is the only male character we have seen be sexually assaulted in this series. And that's not cool and I don't like it. But in terms of equity, Guts is the only male character we've seen be sexually assaulted. Erica is the only female character we've seen not be sexually assaulted that is of relevance that's a female character. That, to me, is something that needs to be pointed out, right? And we'll talk about it a little bit further. But I think that that's important to note. And then they did make this point of saying that, you know, they're saying there are two types of stories that have gratuity like this. There is misery porn, where bad things happen to good people and there's no resolution. And then there's stories where bad things happen to good people. They go on with the scars that they have and struggle through. And they say that Berserk is the latter. And I hope that that is correct. I hope that that ends up being correct. I think that we're going to talk about kind of the hypothesis and the caveats here that going forward are going to be the tried and true things to tell us that. But I thought that was a good comment. So going with this, delving into growth and perseverance beyond the darkness. And here's my thing, like I said at the very beginning of the story. You can love a story and the themes that it presents while still acknowledging its downfalls and its flaws, right? And I think that a lot of modern series have learned from Berserk while still taking into account some of the things that they're like, Miura could have changed that. And they're kind of trying to incorporate that into their own stories, right? So when I go up here, we go back up here to the status quo of power. Here's where I think it gets interesting because you have Miura using sexual assault with Guts as a way for him to move forward, to take that trauma, transition it into power, and transition it into the way that he looks out on life, things like that, right? My thing is you have to look at how Guts is handled with that situation versus how it's depicted with every other woman besides Erica, who's been our little angel that's not been harmed, and see how their plots are resolved. And so here's my caveat. This is my hypothesis. Again, I'm going to say this for the umpteenth time for those in the back that missed it at the beginning of the video. I am aware I am only halfway through Miura's work. So time is going to tell whether or not these plot lines come to fruition. And I feel the frustration of some people in the comments because you all are looking at this story knowing everything that happens. And you can't spoil me as to what happens. So it can be frustrating watching someone work through a story for the first time and not know what to expect or not know what's to come. And all I ask for you is to be patient. Be patient. Wait on me. I'll get there. But as I'm going through my struggle, I'm also going to talk about it as well. Because just as for you, if you are someone that's dealt with something like this, I'll be honest, sexual assault affects me very deeply from my experiences, which I'm not going to talk to you all on camera about because that's my business. However, it is something that deeply affects me. And part of my way of working through that as I read volume after volume of it happening, which it didn't really happen in this volume, so weeks since nonsense, we'll put a 1 up on the board. But in terms of me processing it and being able to work through my own experience, I do need to talk about it and the things that bother me about it when I see it in media. And so, yeah, that is part of it. But I'm aware my views may change as the story goes on. I may go back and look back at these volumes from the past and go, okay, there was a setup. This is the payoff. I hope the payoff is worth it. And it's going to be a question of, is the payoff going to be worth the journey? And what do we do with that? So my thing is too, though, and I will say this about Casca and Jill. I want to talk about Casca and Jill specifically. And again, we're looking in terms of patriarchal structures here because that's the framework we're going with. Guts is allowed to progress. Guts is allowed to internalize his trauma, work through it for us, the audience, and progress and move forward and become a stronger and better person. What about Casca? What about Farnese? Farnese is a different character because her trauma is connected to her own inner desires. So she's kind of like over here in a boat. I'm going to be curious to see where her character arc ends up. But for me, the test of time with all this is, what about Casca? Because Casca has not been allowed to process her trauma. Casca is someone that has been sexually assaulted far more times than Guts, pray tell, but has not been able to process. She's completely wiped of her memories. She doesn't even get to process or reflect upon the miscarriage of her child. She doesn't get to process upon the rape that she endures, the sexual violation from multiple angles at multiple times. She doesn't get to process any of that. Her agency is essentially stripped from her. And she's not able to progress like Guts. Instead, she's just relegated as kind of this MacGuffin, kind of an object that Guts has to save. And it becomes more of like a symbolic element than a character. And I am fully aware that this show may have her gain her memories back. She may have this triumphant rise like a phoenix and become this great individual that speaks her mind and proclaims things and speaks the truths and gets all that back. But at this point in the story, I'm very pessimistic about it. I don't think she's going to gain that agency back. I think from this point in the story on, and this is my prediction, and I hope I am wrong, but my prediction is she's just going to be this maternal little light. She's going to like cling to her baby if it's still alive after all this, but she's just going to be an object for Guts to rescue eternally. And whether she ends up with him or not, I don't know. I hope she does. I would love all three of them to be together. If all three of them at the end of this arc ended up being together, that'd be great, but the story's not over at volume 21. So I don't see that happening anytime soon. If the end of the story is her and Guts and that baby, demon baby, being happily ever after, give that to me, please. If you've made your audience suffer through this much, give them that happy ending. But I don't think that's going to happen. But I'm going to reserve my final judgment until we get to that point, right? I'm aware that things may change, but this is just where we are right now in the story as I'm talking to you. So then there's Jill. Jill is, I feel like Miura wants to give characters, he wants to kind of up in some of this patriarchal structure. I feel like Miura wants to do it, but there are forces limiting him from doing it, including himself, because you have Jill, who is a character that by the end of her arc, she does get to work beyond the status quo. She does end up being allowed to share in the same type of struggle that Guts does and to have that agency and that identity. Here's the funny thing, though. From what people have told me in the comments section, there are no other adaptations of Jill's story. It's not adapted into any other forms of the anime. It's not adapted into any other pieces of media. It's like, and this isn't Miura's doing, mind you. At this point, I'm not talking about Miura specifically, but the publishing agencies and the entities that associate with Miura, they're like, oh, this story that has like a good ending here and promotes some type of structure that's, a little different than the patriarchy. Yeah, we're not going to publish that. Nobody's going to get to know that. I think that that's pretty telling in itself. And that's not Miura's fault. But that is interesting with the circles of power that surround Miura with his publishing, that we don't get an adaptation of Jill's arc in any other form but the manga. And those messages for possible readers and viewers. So anyway, now Miura, is he disrupting the status quo? Or is he just kind of reinforcing it and not really challenging it? That's going to be the question that I have going through the remainders of Berserk. Like, what are we challenging? What are we doing, right? Because when we get here talking about the patriarchal structures of power. So you have these two categories. You have dependence and independence, which is talked about through the Asian Pacific Institute. You also have positions of power themselves. So I'm going to use these characters as examples. Luca and Jerome. I love Luca. I think she's one of the best written characters that's female in this series. I really like Luca. I like the way she's done. I'm very nervous about the conclusion of her arc. I'm like 70% optimistic she's going to be okay and 30% optimistic they're going to kill her. So we'll see what happens next volume. But Luca and Jerome, they are like the tried and true trope of the privileged man and the poor prostitute woman. I mean, Moulin Rouge, Pretty Woman, Pygmalion. Like, list goes on. There's lots of examples of this, right? One thing that Miura does do to his credit to elevate this patriarchal structure is that Jerome is a nice person. He's a kind person. He seems to be a good-natured person. He's not trying to take advantage of Luca in any way, shape, or form. And Luca is a smart, intellectual woman who has like this nerve of steel, and they're a good match for each other, and they seem very wholesome. So to Miura's credit, awesome, right? My question is, my question before this volume was, would Luca lead to Jerome's downfall? That doesn't seem to be the case. So cool. It's a bit of a challenge of that status quo, right? But will their genuine love be rewarded? Is this going to be a Pretty Woman situation, or is this going to be a Moulin Rouge situation? Because those situations have the same romantic dynamic that Jerome and Luca have, but they have very different outcomes. But it's still that proposition of she's the one in destitute situations, he's the one of privilege that can give her a better life. That's kind of the status quo that I'm talking about that's not being challenged, but Miura does challenge it in a way by making them really dynamic characters that are fleshed out and fully functioning. So that's good. And then we have Erica and Rickert. Rickert becoming a man and taking care of Erica, which, again, I'm fully aware that this is a genre of a story that's meant primarily for a male audience. But again, it is enforcing patriarchal societal standards that the man has to be the one to take care of the woman. She can't do the same for Rickert, or not in the way that positions her in an equal or above state of power, which is fine. I like Rickert a lot. But I wanted to talk about this comment by Death Mingo, which I really, really liked. And it was about Rickert and Guts and the idea of soft skills. And in this capacity, I do think Miura is challenging a little bit of the status quo of power and how we think of the patriarchy. And I do think Miura is challenging it, or struggling to challenge it, of ideas like toxic masculinity. With Rickert, Death Mingo talks about Rickert having soft skills. He's been healing, learning, gaining family, responsibility, and community. Whereas Guts, while justified, at the same time is running, playing war, physically ragged, pre the speech from Godot, and has no mental healing. He's still at square one running, and he's left Casca there as well. And maybe Miura is saying that because of Guts' actions, he's left Casca in a similar boat, which sucks. And okay, that's a decision. I don't like it for Casca's sake, but I understand that decision. But he also talks about how the soft skills that Rickert has makes him strong versus Guts being viewed by Godot as a child in that Cracks in the Blade chapter. Guts is a grown man acting like a kid, whereas Rickert is a child taking on the responsibility of a man. And I like that. I think that in ways Miura challenges that status quo of power. And Rickert, who's not exactly, doesn't have this stereotypical like toxic masculinity to him, he is a good example of, Guts from the outside appearance is like very much the machismo 80s, 90s definition of a manly man. And Rickert doesn't necessarily give off that appearance, but Miura kind of challenges the patriarchal structure a little bit in that he's like putting Rickert in kind of a position of power, being like, he's more of a man than you, Guts, because he's doing this and you're not doing that. So I think that that's really interesting. And I can see series like Vinland Saga that have kind of drawn from that Cracks of the Blade chapter and sort of developed it in their own way, which is really neat. So yeah, I think it would be interesting to see where Guts and Casca and their relationship goes throughout this series in comparison to Jerome and Luca, in comparison to Erica and Rickert. but also in comparison to Serpico and Farnese, which we'll talk about in a hot second. I like that Death Mingo called Serpico and Farnese a twisted dark fantasy take on Link and Zelda, which I'm like, oh, that's so good. That's so good. I love that. That's great. So our outliers in this, in the structure of power, are Nina and Rosine. Nina is positioned in a place of power with Joachim, but it's not viewed as a good thing, right? It's not viewed as a good thing that she has that position of power. It's actually something that's detrimental, and she gets punished for it later. Then you have Rosine, who's in a position of power, but again, it was at the cost of her killing her parents. The position of power and her acquiring it wasn't good, so she gets punished for it. Then we have this idea. Now, while I think in terms of dependence and independence with Luca and Jerome and Erica and Rickert, Miura is challenging some of the stereotypical patriarchal structures, and I appreciate that. I do think there are other ways in which Miura is kind of reinforcing the status quo for his audience. And whether that's his own personal beliefs, whether or not the editing company that he's working for is pushing it, whether or not the fandom pushes it, that is all a big major question. But as of volume 20, looking at these three characters, Charlotte, Farnese, and Casca. So with Charlotte in a position of power is something you could do so much with. Charlotte being the queen to come. But because of how her character is structured, everyone in the novel and everyone in the anime is like, yeah, she's just a figurehead. She's going to have to marry a man so he can be in charge because she ain't going to be in charge. And I'm like, why not? Why can't we create Charlotte's character with all she's been through? Let her have agency from Griffith assaulting her and let her move forward and take that power and become someone that could have agency and struggle through, kind of like Guts is, but that's not the case. Instead, she's just relegated to a figurehead, and she's going to have to marry a strong man, and he's going to have to be king instead. And it's like, okay, all right. Then you have Farnese, who, when I first was introduced to her character, I was like, oh, cool, she's a female commander. She's in this position of power. We're going to get to see a female character actually show some backbone and have some nerve, kind of like Casca, and we'll go from there. No, she is just a power structure. It's all a facade. She's just a figurehead too. And it's established in the story that she has no real authority, and she's reliant upon Serpico or Azon or those around her to keep her respected and maintained. And there's nothing wrong with her being a flawed character and having inner demons. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just, again, we're reinforcing the status quo of the females in power in this series either don't stay in power or the power is revealed to be a facade and there's actually male characters behind the scenes carrying the workload, is where we're at with those characters. Because then you have Casca, who I was so excited about in this series because she was given a position of power. She developed respect and rapport among the men in the Band of the Hawk. She was able to lead them that year that Griffith was imprisoned. She has this power. She was able to have a relationship with Guts, and they developed onto an equal level. And I was like, yes. But Miura's like, what do I do now? I can't have Guts struggle if she's on the same level as him. So here's what we're going to do. And then here we are. But not only is she stripped of power and agency, she's stripped of independence. She is now dependent upon Guts to save her and take care of her because she can't do it herself anymore. And she is just lacking that. I'm going to move over here. Lacking that equality that was caused by, and any power was caused by the demon baby, and it's labeled her a witch. And the whole witch thing, if we're going to talk about patriarchal structures, witches were, labeled as women with unnatural power. How dare these ladies be somewhat threatening? Let's burn them all. It's not lost onto me the historical background with witches and how they're tied to that fear of present power. And the only thing that's insane here is that the power is coming from the baby. It's non-existent. Again, even giving Casca supernatural powers isn't happening in this. It's non-existent. It's a baby giving it. And we don't know if the baby's male or female. We don't know. It's not developed enough to have that identity. So what do we do about that? Yeah. Anyway, the biggest factor I feel at this point is going to be Casca. The biggest character point is like, is Casca going to be something we get rewarded by? What's the payoff with her character going to be? What is Miura going to reinforce the status quo, or is he going to subjugate it or challenge it? And if he doesn't challenge it or subjugate it, that's fine. I'm not saying he has to, but I am saying that it's an opportunity that's there. And for the series to be as good as it is and as good as I've told it is, I feel like the opportunity is right there. It's literally right there. And to not take it, I'm like, did you just not think about it? Or was there other things at play? And maybe there are other things at play that I don't know about yet. Again, I am aware. But I want to talk about, too, real quick, just the idea of there was a video from Lindsay Ellis who analyzed the play Rent. It's one of my favorite video analyses that she's done. She relates the idea of Rent to being a way that's kind of like a veiled echo of the AIDS epidemic and crisis in the 80s, because the film was made in the 90s, or the play was made in the 90s, and it was adapted in the 2000s into a movie. But she says that, quote unquote, the play does exactly what governing forces did for the AIDS epidemic in America in the 1980s, which was look pretty and do as little as possible. And I do want to give Miura credit. I don't think he's at that point with Berserk at all. I think that Miura, it looks pretty, for sure. But I do think Miura is trying to do things. He's trying. I see the struggle Miura is having, and it's so frustrating for me as a viewer because I see what he's trying to do. I see little moments with characters where I'm like, you are trying so hard to challenge something, but then it's like somebody at the last minute pulls the reins back and they're like, no, don't get too crazy, Miura. Don't get too crazy. And I'm like, so I want to see what he ends up doing. I want to see if he ends up breaking free from that struggle and moving forward. Because as of right now, when people are like, well, but male characters have suffered, I'm like, here we go. The male characters either have had two things happen with them. They've either been villains that are side characters with no actual depth and they end up dying, like Goatman, or like some of the side characters here that we see with the disciples, or they're just random bandits or something bad happens to them and they die and that's the end of their story, the end. Or they are positioned in places of power, again, patriarchal structure, and even though they have downfalls, there are no, like, at the end of the day, they just go quietly into the good night. So, for example, the king just dies. The king was vile and repulsive and awful, and he just dies. That's it. It's like, boom, kicks the bucket, bye. Adon, who was just foul and disgusting, he's still alive and kicking somewhere. What happened with him? The idea of the governor, even the governor has this, after all he does, has this moment of redemption and just fades into the good night, into the depths of hell, I suppose. The God Hand, Wild, even Wild's the one that I go back to that I'm like, all he did was like die peacefully in the woods. All that shit he did and his retribution and death was just he died peacefully in the woods and he was a little old man. And meanwhile, all this horrible stuff is happening to these female characters. And there we go. So I just want to put you all on the same level that I'm at with this story. I love Berserk. And I can see Miura trying to, in some ways, it's so fascinating to me because at times I see Miura he's trying to challenge something within the patriarchal structure. I can see it. But then there are other times where he pulls back and he's like, let's not change the status quo. Let's just go with it and talk about something else. Yeah. Which is fascinating to me, right? So the last comment I want to bring up is J Delta 716 is talking about, they brought up Durankai. And I will respectfully challenge your comment, J Delta, because their comment was saying that Durankai, which was the last work, I think it was the last work that Miura worked on before their death, that it was fetishizing the main character in like positions as a child. I went back and read the whole volume. It's a very interesting story. I really liked it, actually. I really liked it. I was sad there's only one volume. I was like, shit, he had to die. Oh, that's awful. But what it is, it's very much like, it's this weird mythological take on the Hercules narrative, at least in the first chapter. The first chapter takes a lot from Hercules. The main character is androgynous. They are neither male nor female. They're non-binary, which I thought was a really, really interesting take to make it. And they kind of look like a preteen. They look like they're not a child, but they're not an adult. They're like a preteen. They're like young Hercules from the Disney movie, but they're non-binary. So they don't identify as male or as female. And the gods are not sure exactly what to do with them. They say that they're kind of like, they're this entity that can transcend all because they transcend gender. Which I was like, oh, I'd already started writing this up here on the whiteboard, Coon. And then I was reading that story going, Well, this all fits very interestingly. And so the big thing about their character is that they struggle to find identity, and they're trying to find their place in the world and help out those around them. And then it's very tame compared to Berserk. It was like very tame. There are a few positions that are a little compromising. They are nothing compared to this. Nothing compared to volume 17, 13, or 14 at all, which I was like, okay, good. There's like one nude shot of the main character who's like a dragon godchild. But it's like their backside. That's like the one position that it shows. And I was like, okay, that is a little But and then there's one shot of them like bending down, but they're not nude. It's just like a compromising position that they're drawn in. Miura wrote the story. He didn't actually illustrate it. The style of it looks a lot like Miura, which is interesting. But he wrote the story. But what I really like about Durankai is that it kind of explores gender identity and talks about the structures, the patriarchal structure, and how we view characters based on their gender and how it ties to their identity. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is exactly, I feel like, the story was written, a few years ago versus this written in the 90s. It feels like with Durankai, Miura had a lot more freedom to explore those themes and to talk more about that. And reading Durankai actually got me excited for the volumes of Berserk to come, because I was like, okay, if Miura had more freedom now towards his death to write characters in a way that it seemed like he wants to write them, that gives me a lot more motivation to keep reading Berserk, because I feel like maybe he'll get to that point with this story. So I'm hopeful based upon that the story is going to get better. I feel like there was also an Amazonian script that at the end of the Durankai manga, they shared like an Amazonian script that showed like concept art and things. I guess one of the stories Miura was planning to do while doing Berserk was this Amazon story. And there's a lot of female characters, and the female characters are not sexualized like they are in Berserk. They obviously look feminine, but they're not like it's not overly male gaze driven. It was very like respectfully done. And I was like, oh, it was very tasteful. I liked the artwork and the style from the concept art. It was a mostly female cast. And I was like, what is this? I was like, what? I'm excited to get to like the latter volumes of Berserk if this is the case, because this is a totally different Miura. It felt like Miura having freedom to talk about gender and identity in his stories. I was like, oh my God, where is this? Which makes this all seem more pronounced to me, because it feels like Miura is being very restricted. And it might be because of Miura's own worldviews at the time, and maybe he ends up developing the story as he develops his worldviews. I don't know. But I feel like the fandom gets so caught up in defending Miura sometimes that they don't realize it's okay to call Miura out on some of the things of the past, because it's going to make the story later on feel a little bit more discussable in terms of what we see there. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Berserk. I reading Durankai and seeing the concept art for the Amazon story has given me a much more positive outlook for where Berserk is going. But I want to let you all know, when I call these things out with Miura and what he's doing, it's because I feel they need to be called out, because they are problematic. This volume was not, so that's great. But it's all in good faith that it's to help us create a more meaningful dialogue. It's to help us share experiences. It's to make it okay to talk about this, because I feel like some of the comments that I've been receiving have told me to shut up. There's been a lot of comments that I've noticed. They were like, quit whining and just read the story. No. Because that's kind of the thing. I know, we look at the Me Too movement back from 2016, but there's been a lot of pushback to that. There have been women that I've read stories of that came forward with their own experiences of sexual assault that were imprisoned because they were believed to be trying to defame their perpetrators. And that's insane to me. So I'll be honest, I, for the longest time, didn't talk about my own experience because I was afraid of the pushback and of people saying it was my fault, of people saying that it's not worth talking about. To do like one comment told me on here and said, get over it. Those are real feelings and sentiments that I've received. And it's hard to work through when someone tells you that. But for me, it makes me feel more like guts. in that moment, it makes me feel more like, I'd like to say it makes me feel like Casca, but she doesn't have that agency at the moment. So I have to go to Guts. Story of my life. I can't find a female character to identify with, so I got to go find a good male character. Welcome to Shonen. Welcome to Seinen. How you doing? But it does make me relate to Guts because I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have to struggle through this. And just like at the end of this volume where the heretics around them, Guts is like, I'm faced with no good way out of this. But he's going to have to go through it somehow and protect what he feels is important to him. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm going to keep talking about this series, be honest with you all, give my opinions. And at the end of the day, I just have to like be true to myself and just deal with whatever the consequences are. So there we go. I'm sure that this will develop over time. I'll probably come back to this and view Miura's take on it as we go further. But for now, I want to say thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm not ready for volume 21, but I may have to go ahead and watch it. So we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with more Berserk. Bye!